Shaving Cadre Barber Dave here, and every so many years or months or so forth, the subject of Mitchell's wool fat comes up on how good of a soap it is, how bad of a soap it is, how people can't lather it, and so forth. So I did indicate in the MWF thread that I would do a video on how I lather it, both for a simulated face lather and for a bowl lather. So we're going to do that today. Now it's going to be in parts. So this is obviously Mitchell's wool fat. Now the one thing that I do is I actually grate the puck back into the coffret that it sits in, and then what I will do is I will put literally just a tablespoon of water in it. So just this much, sit it on top, and then I'll go take my shower, do everything else. Now I've also noticed that the best brush to use, in my opinion, is a boar brush. I can use any of them, but a boar brush works the best. So we'll let that soak for a little while, and we'll be back in just a second. Okay, folks, it's been about 10 or 15 minutes. Now what I do, and this is weird for some people, and this will go off camera a little bit, I actually pour this water out. So all you have is just the wet puck, and then I'll take the boar brush and I will literally take out and squeeze out almost all the water, so it's relatively dry. And then I'll just start loading. And I'm digging in with fairly good pressure to get that proto lather onto the brush. But as you can see, and this is very hard water, but I'll load it for 30 to 45 seconds to get a good proto lather on it. And then I'll take all that lather and I'll put that back in the brush as far as lathering it. So you can see how much lather I have on the brush. So I'm going to reposition the camera, and then we'll do a simulated face lather. So we'll be back in just a second. Back at this point, basically I'm just going to do a palm lather. So we're going to assume that my palm is my face, and I've got some water over here that I'll dip it into, and then I'll just start building the lather. And it will be kind of airy and sticky in the beginning, but like I said, we started out with a fairly dry brush. So then I'll actually just dip the tips in some water and bring it back to the lather. And this you may have to repeat a few times to get the water correct, because it will take on, Mitchell's wool fat will take on quite a bit of water, and incorporating the air and everything in it. But as you can see, it actually starts to thicken up pretty well. Add just a little bit more water. And this is the way I build Mitchell's wool fat, and it gives just a wonderfully slick shave. And you can actually see it there. I'll wipe a little bit of this lather off just to give you an idea of how thick and creamy it is. So it can be done, and then just, you know, and I may add a little bit more water if I want to get it a little bit thinner and a little bit softer. But this would be a simulated face lather, and as you can see, it's it's got a lot of volume in it. If I go to the back of my hand, you know, you can build it the same way there. And it's a nice, creamy, voluminous lather, not too slick. And you can add actually even a little water to that too. And see how nice and slick and creamy it gets? And it will shave wonderfully. The only negative is that if you have a reaction to lanolin, that's what can happen. But seriously, if you just take all this off, you can see it's a pretty good lather. So I know that some people have trouble lathering with it, and then after you rinse it, if you notice, you can actually just rebuild that lather, and it gets huge and very nice, very soft, pillowy, very slick, and stuff like that. So that's how I face lather Mitchell's wool fat. We'll come back with a bowl lather right after this. Folks, we're back. This is going to be a bowl lather. Now, I've basically recreated putting some water in it, dumping that water out, and then getting most of the dry brush. And what I'll do is I'll load it. Now, I'll load it a little bit heavier since I'm bowl lathering. And like I said, you know, sometimes I'll get a great lather with Mitchell, sometimes I won't. But what I'll do is I'll take this extra, and I've got a bowl off camera that I'll show you in just a second. But I'll keep loading this thing fairly thick. Now I've put a couple of drops of water in the bowl to get it started. So that should be enough. And then I'll take all this excess, and I'll either put it on my face, or I'll put it in the bowl and set that aside. And so I've got my Captain's Choice bowl here, and I will just start swirling slowly but surely. I'll do some plunger action to get the oxygen in there, get the air in there, and then I'll just keep agitating. And as you can see, it's already starting to build. Now I'll take some water, a few drops here and there, and incorporate that in slowly. And then just keep repeating. And once again, this is with a bore brush, but you can do it with pretty much any brush as far as if you're a bowl latherer to get the sheen that you want. Mitchell's wool fat will take on a ton of water, and it'll get slicker and slicker as you keep lathering it. So as you can see, we're starting to get there. Now what I'll do also is I'll take whatever residual lather that's in this brush, and it's still quite foamy, and I'll put that back in to the bowl. And then I will dip the tips and put some more water in, and then start agitating again to get the lather the way I want it. And I find that bowl lathering, it does take on a little bit more water than face lathering. And that could be because obviously some of the moisture that you have in your face. But as you can see, it builds great. And as long as you keep agitating it slowly but surely, those bubbles will come out, and you can see how shiny and voluminous it is. And you could keep going from here either. That's the one thing I do like about Mitchell's, is you can keep building it as much as you want. So there's the bowl lather. And then if you transfer this on to your face, it's a very, very nice, creamy, very, very smooth lather. And very shiny as well. It does not dissipate. And there you go. So that's how I bowl lather it. And so for both types, it does work. You just got to spend some time getting to know it. Well, that's it, folks. If you have any questions, let me know. And hopefully that's helped out some folks that want to try Mitchell's wool fat again. Have a great day.